All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for taking the time to be here this morning. I'm really honored to share our stories and solutions as part of this regenerative roundtable. My name is Christina Aman, and I have been partnered with this company, Purium. This is our movement, our vehicle for transformation, total transformation. And my story itself is a story of transformation, and I'll tell it a little bit later in the call, and we're going to hear some other stories as well. But I want to just zoom out a little bit and paint a picture of really why we're coming together today in this moment with all of you. Um, and we're doing this on an ongoing basis because we feel so deeply passionate about the solutions that we've found here. So, what are these solutions for? Well, we live in a time where there's suffering, people are living in, particularly in this nation of the United States, but also because that influence has a ripple effect all over the globe, and because some of these same patterns are everywhere, we're living in a time where there's great disparity. People have a birthright, in my opinion, to optimal health, to peace of mind, to open-hearted, safe living, to joy and healthy commerce and exchange within community. And this has just become increasingly hard for people to attain. I do believe most people are really just aspiring to live a simple, grounded, safe, wholesome life. And even that, as simple as that request is from humanity calling out for that simpler life, yes, exactly. The children are calling. Even that is, go ahead and mute yourselves if you have that ability, or I can mute everyone right now. Hang on. Hang on to your seats. There we go. Even that simple request to just live, a basic human life is so challenged these days. Drop a one if you know what I'm talking about. We live in an economy where the wealth gap is increasing, and you know, the powers at be, the corporations primarily, are just consuming like a machine, consuming the planet, consuming people. Our food system is barely serving food to the people. Our healthcare system is certainly not in the interest of public health, in my opinion. And we have a lot of problems to solve, and so that's really why we're here. We're in a time, if you know about the Great Resignation, drop a two. This is something that just in the last few months of the history of humanity, nobody's ever seen a situation where like half of the workforce is leaving their jobs, consciously making decisions. Yeah, I don't want to do that anymore. People are recognizing that being on the hamster wheel, working for other people's dreams, sacrificing their own values is no longer working, you know? And there's all kinds of statistics about people just really deciding, you know what, I want to live a higher quality life. I want to live life on my terms. I want to own my time, and I want to make the decisions over how I spend that time. I need to prioritize my family over work. I need to prioritize my own self-care and joy and pleasure of living life over work. And so this is really all setting the stage for this dialogue that we're going to have right here today. And we're going to share a little bit with you about why we're so excited about what we found here as a way to close that wealth gap, as a way to help people find solutions they're seeking, solutions that they may not have found in other places. So I'll tell you a little bit about my story, speaking of not finding solutions in other places, and then I'm going to pass the mic to some other stories. When I first found Purium 5 years ago, my husband and I had gotten land. We had a beautiful vision of, as so many people that I speak to on a regular basis have this same vision of, let's get land, let's design some permaculture living situations, let's grow food, let's grow herbal medicine. We know that there'll be abundance. Let's share it with our community. Let's design and build some spaces where people can come together to receive this abundance, to exchange education, to celebrate, to share art and music. So very simple in my mind vision, and yet the reality of building that from scratch on raw land that had been damaged by the chemical agriculture system has been quite the complex endeavor and quite expensive, really, to put in all that infrastructure. Drop a 3 if you also have shared that same vision of like, wouldn't it be nice to just, steward land, really restore it to its fullness of fertility and abundance, and then share that with people, right? It's very simple, and yet in this day and age, so complex. So, starting with owning land, and even that whole system has its flaws for sure, and then the cost of materials, labor, et cetera, et cetera. So long story short, here we were trying to develop this land, also having babies, trying to raise our own consciousness and have a healthy marriage, and all of it turning out to be very spread thin energy. So what happened is the reality, it looked like, would have been to let go of the land, get ourselves a proper house to raise our children in, and just simplify and not be so ambitious to have this simple vision. But I'm a big dreamer, and I had an idea that this really wanted to come to fruition. And I kept myself open to maybe there is a budget out there that is going to support us to create this vision. And that's when Purium came into my life as a possibility. Of course, I did not recognize it at first. It was not at all what I thought I was calling in, completely different package. But by the time I took the time to unpack it, get all of my skepticism and questions answered, I saw that this was a vehicle I could do in part-time hours as a stay-at-home mom with barely any professional or technology experience, hardly a network. And I said, go ahead and show me how to do this, because I'm hungry for this transformation in our life, for the planet's life, for our communities thriving, and I'm willing. So fast forward 5 years later, we now have an organization in, my own little business here in the company that last year did over $3.5 million in sales. Needless to say, we are watching the farm develop. We're able to continue to invest in upgrading the buildings, tending the orchards, the gardens, hiring labor, and really see all of our visions come to fruition. Meanwhile, we've also upgraded our quality of life. My husband recently cut back his what used to be massively full-time hours to working 2 days a week. So he's semi-retired. So he can be a full-time farmer, full-time dad, and we really get to prioritize our value of playing. We both love to play. We love to play with our children. We love to work hard, and we love to play hard. So we're really creating that life for ourselves now. And my biggest passion now is to help other people do the same, because the more people we have claiming and building this kind of good, clean wealth that is not circulating within the corporate system, the more we're going to be able to close that wealth gap. And that really means a lot to me. So one of the people that I am really inspired by this woman's mission here on planet Earth, what she's doing with this vehicle, and somebody that I'm just so honored to walk this path with and support, a beautiful mama, a earth activist, a community leader, a farmer, Daniela. We're so excited to hear your story. Thanks for being here today. All the way from Puerto Rico.
Yeah, thank you, Christina. Thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. It's funny, we've done a few of these calls and I feel so much synchronicity. Like, we don't practice, but you start speaking, it's like, wow, this is so aligned with what I came to say today, so thank you. It's beautiful how you were talking about dreams, and really I feel that I had lost my power to dream. 2 years ago when I found Purium, I was in a place of complacency, of happy with my life, because I had already made a very conscious decision to live with the earth, tending the land, growing my own food. But I had kind of fallen into this place of that was it. And the sacrifices that came along with those choices were some that I just took as a given. Like, I decided to live this way, so I also need to sacrifice what other people have. And sometimes people think it's simple, like something so simple like going out to dinner, was, we couldn't do that. Or traveling was no way, but I had already reached this point where I was like, that's what I have to exchange in order to be able to live off the land. And I had totally stopped dreaming and dreaming big. It wasn't in my panorama anymore until I met Sarah, who is the person who inspired me. And just by showing me that she had totally changed her life, she inspired me to dream again, and to be able to say that this process and this team and the work that we do has rekindled my dreams. It has resparked my energy to attract more into my life. And just the past 2 years working with the team, I have seen so much expansion within my life. And so much more abundance in places that I had accepted the lack, so I definitely feel that it's a beautiful way for anyone who's not accepting the lack. If accepting lack is not for you, then this is definitely something to check out, because it's not many things that are aligned with the sort of visions and missions that we have, especially if we're very earth conscious, spirit conscious people. Basically, most things that are out there to me is like selling my soul, and I wouldn't do them. But finding this team and finding this vehicle that's totally perfectly aligned with all of my values for my family and for the earth has just been wonderful. And being able to do it with a team of people, and we're all on this beautiful, amazing mission of health and wellness. It's just been amazing, honestly. But if there's one thing that I need to, really highlight, and I'm really feeling today, is that ability to dream again. It really gave me back my dreams, and I will be forever grateful for that.
So amazing. And can you tell us a little bit about like your full on, what is your full dream for your life? Like, what's your full vision? If money were no object, paint that picture for us.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I also have land, so developing the land is huge. And obviously, by developing the land, it's basically just listening to what it wants and what it wants to do, and using permaculture design to really bring out the life of the land, and support it to be as abundant as it can be. Creating community and communing with women, and reuniting in circles and fires, and having our kids running around and going camping and traveling and seeing the world. Always having fresh food around is definitely part of my vision. And mostly not having to make life decisions, like very important life decisions, based on the amount of money that we have. Not having to say, oh, let's not go to this health professional because we can't afford it, or let's not go on that trip, or let's not put our kids in music classes or art classes, or all of these things that, in today's age, you need money for, but being really able to make decisions based on what we want and what we know that our bodies and our family needs, rather than that which we can afford, is really the essence of what the vision is. Just having abundance and sharing that abundance with other people, other like-minded people that I know will change the world just by living our lives out of love, out of respect, and being supported to do so, having a relaxed nervous system, because we're not totally stressed out from work. Yeah, all of those things are part of my vision.
I love that. I love that so much. And I really love how you named this aspect of what would it be like to not have to make big decisions based on what we can afford? There's a voice in my head but that's like, that's crazy. Like you have to always be practical and make decisions based, like I hear my dad, right? Like banker, just like that's not a thing. And and in this community, what we're creating, we're opening pathways for that to be a thing, to actually, when our intuition, when our body wisdom is feeling a draw to something, that the price tag is irrelevant, and that is a thing, can be a thing, is a birthright thing. Because first of all, the prices of things nowadays are completely distorted based on distorted economies. So let's just name that for a moment, because that's what we're grappling against. And to reclaim, the fact that, and I want to bring in a little bit about the company itself for our guests here today, or if you're watching the replay. We had a call last week with our owner, founder, formulator of these incredible superfoods. So, to bring it back to what we do, is we've partnered with a company that helps people provide, helps people up level our vitality, our quality of life through nutrition and gentle, safe, gradual detoxification of the myriad of toxins that we're bombarded with every day. So I call this the householders program. You don't have to go on some deep, intense fast or deep, intense detox or anything. This is like, add the nutrition into your life, watch the magic happen, right? Drop a two if you know what I'm talking about. Just like, it's easy, it just flows, you just add it in, you weave it in, it tastes good, it feels good, you move on, you do life, right? I've been there where it's like fasting and detoxing consumed my whole life, my whole day. But this is not that. This is like, live your life, be supported at a cellular level, like Daniela was talking about. And so last week, our owner, founder, formulator talked about how, and this really stood out for me, the amount of pure, clean food on the planet right now is so small. It's a rare, precious resource. And that really hit me in a way that it's never hit me before. I think of pure, clean water as a precious resource. I think of, pure, clean, wild crafted herbal medicine as a precious resource, all kinds of other things. But to realize that food, which is like the most basic, I mean, water is the most basic, but, maybe next most basic, everybody eats every day, right? To think of pure, clean food that's going to help us live optimally, a precious resource. I was like, whoa, big problem there. And to realize that we have access to that within the superfoods company. So I was somebody who came into this like, I just want to eat whole, fresh, local food. I don't know about these powders, superfood supplements. Like, that's not on my radar. So I had to open up to, well, what is really going on here? What's going on here is that the soil that these vegetables and grasses and fruits and legumes are grown in is highly mineralized, regenerative. So all of the nutrients going back in to build up healthy soil. That itself is rare. That's what's rare on the planet right now, let alone the water is tested to know that there's no toxins going in and zero chemicals going into this agriculture. So that is amazing. Now we move into, how are the powders formed? Well, they're formed by a very low temperature dehydration process that separates the water from the juice crystals, and that has the ability to retain the maximum enzymes. It's vine ripened. It's just as optimal as food could be. Optimally, we'd sit there on the farm and eat it right there, or juice it and eat it right there. But without that, the ability then to go to the manufacturing facility, completely test it, have no contaminants show up in the in-house microbiology tests, even third parties who test it, zero contaminants, and then send it to you in non-GMO hemp, bamboo, tree resin compostable packaging. okay, that's a second best to me having all of that food growing on my farm or in my local community. And I can say living here in Hawaii, the food situation is a crisis. You know, there is a shortage of good, clean, organic food here and very much a need for it. So the fact that this company is not only providing that kind of food shipped right to your door, whether you live in a food desert or a place where there's farms or, you know, everything in between, but it's also helping people like myself and Daniela and other people on this call here today build up their farms and grow more good, clean food and build up our soils for our community is pretty revolutionary. It's pretty amazing. So they're incredible. The owners, founders, the mission of the company is really to help people alleviate suffering, to really reclaim our birthright of vitality and radiance and optimal health on all the levels, including financial health, and to empower us to live sovereign, free life where we own our time and we decide what we do. And the way that we do this is by sharing stories with each other. And that's why we're here today sharing stories. We'll go out there on social media, talk to friends, and really just create a little bit of curiosity, not bombard people with anything. And we're really just looking for people who are seeking solutions. So it comes from the heart and it comes from a place of how can I be of service? How can I support someone today in discovering a solution that they may be praying for? So that's a little bit about how the business works as well. And we have an incredible community of people who are all helping us rise together. All ships rise with the tide. So we like to think of it as the collaboration economy or community business. And something I want to share with you before I wrap up this call today is that if you're here right now watching, thank you for taking the time. Welcome. Your timing, and if you're watching the replay, your timing couldn't be more perfect because what we're about to dive into as a community is a focused, kind of a magnified energy of helping us do what we want to do anyway to build this income. So as a community, we're kind of diving in to what we're calling leadership level up or level up leadership. And my mentor, who happens to be the top earner in the company, has really blazed this path for all of us. Daniela named her Sarah. She's actually coming out of semi-retirement where she's been hanging out in South America with her family, working a couple hours a week, drop an 8 if that sounds good to you. And in the meantime, just unwinding their nervous systems, playing at the beach, discovering life at the pace of children, and really being able to center the children and the family as they live their life and watch it unfold. So she's really holding the torch, like this is possible. Let me show you how. And so many of us have risen up to the call of following in her footsteps. And now she's coming to offer her mastery and her genius into a training incubator that's free when you get your 30-day supply of superfoods that you're just going to feel so amazing with. There's millions of testimonials of how incredible people feel with this. Maybe not millions, but a lot. You can learn more exactly about how the products work and what kind of symptoms people have alleviated. People on this call have incredible stories. And with that, you get this free program to dive in and do this community business together where we hold each other as capable, we cheer each other on, we follow very crystal clear systems of action steps to make it easy, to make it doable, with quite lucrative bonuses right off the bat. You know, you can come out the gate making quite a bit of money at this, hitting these first few ranks within a certain period of time, amazing promotions. And then as you grow your business, there's, you know, it's really unlimited what you can make here, moving into passive residual income. So thank you so much for taking the time to be here. Thank you, Daniela, for sharing your story. I have another call here in a moment, so I'm going to close us out. And if you have questions, please reach out to the person who shared this with you to learn more. If you're feeling the call to join us for our Level Up Leadership, we're actually starting tomorrow with our first community training master class, and we'd love to have you join us. No experience necessary, all hearts welcome. I would say if you're wondering if this is for you, if you have an open heart and you have a vision of how you would love to see your life be and it looks different than how it is now, let's go. We'd love to have you. We welcome you. We're here to support you. And I just want to wish everyone a beautiful day. Thank you so much for taking the time.